This is Richard Freeman. Here are some scenes from the previous episode of Freeman's Garage. Well, everything looks good. At first glance, anyways. There's a little piece of debris right here. I'm hoping to get this engine running fairly quickly here. We got a clinker in amongst the blue bloods. And it probably is a sock, a rag, mouse house, something in there, jammed in the intake manifold, blocking flowage of fuelage. It's a little gassy and it's over full. Dang it. So that's what we're seeing from first glance. I think I'm laughing less with each additional thing that's starting to come off of this engine. No, I don't see anything! If we stick it in there, okay, we can't see any light right there. Not playing the rust flake explosion in the eyeball game. Is that cat or is that raccoon? Desperate times call for desperate measures. Let's see if it pops, bangs, shabams. This isn't gonna work. I probably shouldn't have put that much in there. Maybe I am crazy. None of that fuel probably even made it through the ports in the cylinder head. This is gonna work. It's gonna pump now. I mean, as long as the camshaft's not broken. I really don't understand what's going on now. So what we're gonna do, because it's the only thing I can think of right now, just like that, we're at top dead center. Oh, I love that smell. Spark plug going back in. It is gonna be celebration time. If this runs. I didn't put it in right, or I don't know. Why is it turning over so slow? That's not good. That is not good. Don't tell me right when it's gonna run. We burn the starter up. I'm gonna go to my office and lay down for a bit and think about this. I've been tinkering around with this for a little bit off camera because my assumption is that you probably would not prefer an 8-hour long video. Let's back up a teeny tiny bit. Okay, I remember we took the HEI distributor out because I kind of came to the conclusion that probably the coil in it was weak, so we were gonna throw our points ignition system, our points distributor from our old engine into our new one here, ditch the HEI because it could possibly be bad, put our points in that we know is good. We got that all installed and the engine still wouldn't run, and then we ended up swapping the carburetor and doing all this nonsense. So what I'm wondering right now is, were we on the right track? Was it going to run with the points distributor? But by the time we put it in, we developed this issue where the engine's turning over slowly. Because the thing is it's acting like it's got a dead battery or the starter shot, right? It's doing this clicking, right? And it'll turn the engine over a teeny bit and then click like it's all dead, right? Well, we know that our connections are battery. This is all good. I doubt we fried the starter, honestly. And what kind of confirms that for me is the engine is actually, it's more difficult than usual to turn over by hand. Now, there's always, resistance turning an engine over by hand, some more than others. Depends on, how much compression you're fighting against. But watch this. I'm turning the fan and it's spinning on the belt. That happens all the time, that's not unusual. And I'm going to press down on the belt to tighten the belt. And so that we can get the crankshaft turning, get the engine turning over. But watch this. See how that's so difficult like that? Now I'm sure we're fighting against compression right now, but still. It's almost like we're locked up, but the thing is we can go this way. Okay? You see, we're not, the engine's not, it's got, what I'm saying is our starter, our battery, our connections are fine. I'm wondering if the oil pump is working or not. So it's possible that this whole time that we've been cranking the engine over, the oil pump has not been pumping, and we're essentially running aground, right? We're running into dry ground here, right? We're starting to fight friction, no lubrication, which is not good. That's very bad. But you can see I pulled the distributor out and I stuck this screwdriver in here, the one I got for 25 cents from a rummage sale. And I've got it in the drive of the oil pump there. And this is, usually it doesn't work like this, but just by doing this by hand, I've been able to turn the pump fast enough to get pressure, to get oil coming up onto our rockers here, which means I'm pumping oil through our oiling system by hand. Now we need to hook a drill up to this and, you know, get it rocking and rolling and see if this is an issue, right? See if we can get everything lubed up and spinning over freely. We're going to pull the spark plugs out too so that we don't fight compression. And that's milkshake coming out. Remnants from when there was water in this engine. So, I don't know, was this one getting oiled when we were cranking over and had the valve cover off? I don't remember. But yeah, we really do. We've talked about this before, but this oil really does need to get changed again. And see, it's crazy, I'm doing it by hand, isn't it? Usually, in my experience anyways, you can't do this by hand, or especially that slow. But for whatever reason, it's working right now. Let's get the drill on it though. And we're turning clockwise. That's the way our firing order goes around the cap. That's the way our distributor spins and the way our engine turns. And a little tip I could just throw out there right now, just in case you don't know, and you give a hoot. If you were to push on this vacuum advance canister, it would turn the distributor that way, clockwise. That tells you that your engine, everything's going clockwise. If it was on this side and you push on it and it turned everything the other way, then it would be counterclockwise. So if with the drill here we can get oil, you know, pumping like Old Faithful here, and the engine starts turning over properly like it should, one would think, well, then your distributor probably wasn't turning the oil pump like it's supposed to. Well, I did measure both of the shafts. Okay, that's what goes in your oil pump drive. I did measure that, and I measured the one on our HEI. They're the exact same length, so I don't know why they wouldn't be seated into the oil pump drive. I guess it's possible that we should have primed the oil pump before even trying to start this thing for the first time. Either way, that's basically what we're doing right now. So let's investigate this oil pump and try to figure out what's going on here with that. And then I will tell you the other thing that is very possibly the reason why this engine won't run for us. Well, we get to look at how the top end of the oiling system works. Oil comes up through your hollow push rods and onto your rocker arms and the fulcrum balls to lubricate everything. And then it drips down here. And then you got your skirt right here, which that helps keep oil off of your valve seal, which is down in there. Help prevent oil from getting into the cylinder. And yeah, you can see how it drains back into these holes. And it goes in this engine, it drops straight down into the crankcase, so right back down into the oil pan where the pickup for the oil pump is. And holy milkshake! I've been working the engine back and forth by hand as I've been running the drill on the oil pump. There's oil on every rocker. That's great news. But with that level of milkshake, that just means that there was water still in the engine that we didn't get out, and now we've mixed it with gas. And for all we know, we've already spun a bearing in this engine by cranking it over. Because it still doesn't turn over quite like it should by hand. And I think maybe we're good. Maybe we're going down the right alleyway here. But it's this garbage. This is, I mean, there's some viscosity here. I mean, it is slick, but it's not going to do the job properly. So I'm thinking that we should pull the plug on this oil pan and drain everything out of it. And while the plug is out, we'll put the drill on the oil pump more, and we'll just pump it till it doesn't pump anything more. We'll pump whatever's left in there back up top here so that it'll drain back down into the crankcase and out the drain hole in the oil pan. So basically at that point it would, it's pretty much just going to be whatever's left in the oil pump pickup tube. But I think that's what we should do. I've got at least a few quarts of good brand new oil on hand that we can put in the engine, and hopefully it'll be enough to submerge the pickup for the oil pump so that we can spin the pump with the drill again and get the clean oil going through, and hopefully it will turn over by hand properly, or it'll feel like we're all lubricated again. And if that's the case, then we'll go get more oil from the store to top it off, and then we'll put our distributor back in, which at that point I'll show you the other thing I was going to show you about why maybe it didn't start. I don't know. If I'm confusing you, well, believe me, I'm 10 times as confused. Jeez, who put you on? The Incredible Hulk? Let's see what comes out of here. Oh, this pan might overfill, won't it? Because there's so much gas in it. Well, I guess we're making a mess. Yeah, oh man. Yeah, not good. Not good. Mosquito, and I can't move my arm all the way. Hate that when you can't get the mosquito away. They know. As soon as you slide into a confined space under a vehicle with a wrench in your hand, they know. They're coming for you. Oh, maybe we won't overfill. Or overflow the... get out of here, Skeeter! They're after me. Alright, come on. Drain a little faster. I don't want to miss Matlock tonight. He's investigating the death of an author. Isn't that every episode? I want to know who killed my father. I'm going to put a jack under the rear axle and jack the back of the truck up. You can hang out under here and see if there's actually more junk that comes out of here when I do that. All right, I'm jacking. Let's see if we can't pump out what's left inside this oil pump and get it to come out the top and then drain back down into the pan and out into our pan on the floor. All the milkshake you see here, that's left over from when we were spinning the oil pump over earlier. Just stuff that didn't make it back down into the pan yet. Okay, I see fluid. Yeah, we're gonna get it all out. Ooh, you hear that? Boy, that's really working, isn't it? Yeah, there's more coming out. So we need to get all this milkshake out of here and then spin the pump again, get all the milkshake out over and over and over until it's all gone. But this stuff will sit in the rockers forever if we're not turning the engine over and the valves aren't opening and closing, because when a valve opens and the rocker arm on this end dips down, that's how it spills out. I mean, it'll overflow, but also when it dips down, it'll flow out of there. So we're going to get some of this out with a rag, because I don't want to turn the engine over at all right now. I want to wait until we put clean oil in and we get it pumping through the pump with our drill here, a little primage action, and then we can turn the engine over. I'm gonna put our wet rags into a Smart Mart bag. But yeah, a guy can do whatever the heck he wants, however the heck he wants to do it. Believe it or not, this is the way I'm doing things. But, a lot of it, I gotta say, not to toot my own horn, but I feel like I do pull some fairly clever things off once in a while. And sometimes I leave myself wondering. I want to get all of this out. Every little bit. We still got some coming out right now. Alright, I'm going at it for a bit here. Drill battery's dying. There's a little bit coming out, but it's trace amounts, I guess you could call it. So let's leave that be and let things drip down into the pan. Let's get this oil filter off because, well, I'm curious to see if there's actually oil in it. A lot of people think it's impossible to take an oil filter off by hand. This Fram has been on here for 0 miles. The engine's ran for 5 seconds. Let's see if it'll come off. I put it on by hand. Oh, jeez. Well, my hands are oily. What if we used a rag? Holy cow. It won't come off. Well, the oil filter that was on this engine before this filter was on here for 13 years, we think. And that came off with essentially one hand. Maybe I'm just being a girly man. We need to make an oil pan real quick. This thing does not want to come off. Some people might say, get your strap closer to the base of the filter. Well, the timing cover's in the way. Let's see if the oil pump even pumped anything in here. Did we put clean oil at all in this filter before we screwed it on to the engine? I don't think we did we? Maybe we did. I don't remember. But nothing came pouring out. Yeah, there's no way that the oil pump was properly pumping because this should have spewing all over my... I'm foaming at the mouth. I got the rabbit. Well, I did get bit by a bat recently. From all that cranking that we did, this filter should have been plumb full of whatever you want to call this goop. And it should have spilt out all over the place. There's not a single drop in our little pan that we made. And there's just a little bit of liquid. And what's in there is the stuff we're trying to get rid of. This Made in USA oil filter is now garbage. And all that's coming out of the block is just a little bit of that stuff your cat spews out and leaves on the floor, on the tile. Alright, I've spent a painstaking amount of time wiping up as much of the leftovers as I can of that slop. So that's all taken care of up here. Let's jack the back of the truck up again so we can get that angle once more and try to get everything to come out of the drain hole in the pan, anything that might be left in there. Get as much out as we can. It'll be worth taking a minute to do that. Then we'll put the plug back in the drain pan. Let's remember that. And then up top here, with our valve cover off, we will start pouring in fresh oil. And then we will turn the pump with the drill. This is gonna run tonight. Well, you want to see what was in here? Take a look at this split pea soup. Yowza. We got some 2050 and some 1540 diesel oil. That'll work just fine. Testing purposes only. We should probably move this because we know if we don't, we know it's gonna hit the floor. We use a funnel so we don't make a mess. I'm kidding. Yep, that's gonna have dirt in it. This is exactly where it goes when you put it in the oil fill hole in your valve cover. I'm getting a pretty good steady stream going down one of these return holes that's making this faster. I haven't spilled it. Whoa! I almost spilled the first drop. I can hear the oil dripping into the oil pan, aka crankcase. So there was about 2.5 quarts, I would guess, in this jug. It's a 5-quart jug that was maybe half full. No, there we go. I spilled it right at the end. Well, whatever. I think we got bigger fish to fry at the moment here. At least the coil won't be dry. It's nice and shiny. Let's see what the dipstick tells us. Just wipe it off, put it back in. You know, you don't need to wipe a dipstick off and then put it back in to check the oil level if something has been sitting overnight. A little truck driving tip for you. Actually close to the full mark. Yeah, I'd say that's probably about 3 quarts in there. That should be enough to start turning this over, or we'll start spinning the, what is stuck on my arm? Start spinning the oil pump and see if we can get some pumpage going on. Hopefully we get fresh oil pumping through our oil system here. Depends on if the oil is above the pickup or not. I'm sure it is. Ooh. Oh, I didn't expect that so quick. I knew better. It just puked. It just puked milkshake out of there. Right into our homemade oil pan. You know, I wish I would have thought about that before we put the fresh oil in. We should have spun this thing over with the oil filter off. Darn it. Hopefully there's not a bunch of milkshake in there and it's gonna mix. Well, here. See what happens. Why? We should have done this before. Some of that looks like fresh oil though, doesn't it? Does that look like a... Well, let's go a little bit more. We might be losing fresh oil. But there's also milkshake coming out, isn't there? I'm not sure. I'm trying to decide right now if we should stop and put an oil filter on it or not. Well, it's not going to be perfect. We know we have to change the oil again anyways, right? So either... Well, I don't know. Do we dare put this one back on? I mean, there's obviously still some milkshake in there. I don't want to just dump out all that new oil we just put in though, because we need that for a little mission here. I guess we're doing another can you get an oil filter off by hand thing again. This Freeman filter probably has, I don't know, 1,000 miles, my guess. My hands are oily, but the Sure Grip thingy on this Fram might make up for that. Can we get it off by hand? Not this one. If I could blow a couple $100 on oil, just running it through this engine, I would do it. I would have done that in the beginning. Let's see if any of that was our new oil. Easy, fella, easy. I don't want to have to get Tommy John surgery because of you. Ew, yes it was. But let's just see what happens. We'll see if it'll pump up to the rockers. We got another quart sitting over there if we need it. Eddie Money, 2 Tickets to Paradise just started playing in my head. I just wanted you to know. Feeling some pressure here. Oh yeah, we got some squirtage. Oh, there's more milkshake coming out on one of them. We'll wipe that up before it drips down and makes its way to the crankcase. So I'm thinking maybe, we're gonna get oil in all the right internal locations. Good oil. And it's going to allow us to turn the engine over properly as it should. But, the crazy thing about all of this, everything we've done and everything that I just said right now, I'm just saying all of that blind because you can't see in there. So, you don't know. You just have to, it's like everything else in life. You want to make decisions based, you want to make the best assumptions that you can based off of the best information that you have, but you still have no clue what's going to happen. You're not going to believe this, but I think it's working because we're not stuck anymore when we've reached that certain spot. We're going to make this fan blade go all the way around. See, what is that sound? Is that a bearing? Or is that the clutch? Or is that the input shaft of the transmission in the pilot bushing? There, we're all the way around now. We're all the way around and we couldn't do that before. Okay, listen to that. It's from back that way, towards the back of the engine. What is that? I don't know, I'm hoping it's just pilot bushing nonsense that just needs some runtime or something and it'll fix itself. Okay, let's try turning the engine over with the starter now. Okay, well that was better than before, but not good enough. Let's try the key, just because maybe this, I got a little wire here on the remote starter switch. It's not looking that great. Well, that's even worse. I think that squeaky sound is the input shaft of the transmission and the pilot bushing. I think it's that gosh darn pilot bushing. If we could just get the engine running, maybe it would self-clearance, if you know what I mean. So let's get little Lightfoot here out. 540 cold cranking amps, 675 cranking amps. This is factory recommended. This is what General Motors wanted for this engine. And under normal circumstances, it's what you need. It's all you need. But we're going to throw in this behemoth. Yeah! Yeah! Oh, wait, we can't use this. It's a Ford Motorcraft. It's got 850 cold cranking amps and 1,000 cranking amps. The good people of the world are asleep. And I'm out in the driveway with a flashlight from 1952, ripping the battery out of a perfectly good vehicle. This has what we need to power through this bushing, even though this could be the solution, the temporary solution for this little moment here. It is Ford. It's a Ford battery. I can't put this in there. Oh, no, you know what? It's just a name. It's just a sticker. All right, it's probably made by the same plant that makes the battery we just had in this. This is ridiculous. Let's put it in. What? The heck? It won't go in. What the heck? It's rejecting it. And the ME goes to... But seriously, I'm not putting it in here. I can't do that. Luckily, the cables are long enough. I think they are. Nice. Yeah, I can't put it in here. Oh no. Well, hold on here. We actually don't need this even on here right now, but... Okay, well, wait, is the fan gonna hit this? No, I don't think so. Well, we'll find out in a second, won't we? Alright, let's see what a jump up in battery. This battery's from an F350 with a 390 big block. Alright. Holy Toledo! Oh! 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 Okay. Okay. You know, if I would just get over this nonsense and put this battery tray, it would make this a lot easier. I love Ford. I love Chevy. I love them all right? But, I mean, yeah, there's just certain things that you don't do. Let's put this on the floor. It's a heavy battery. Okay, let's put this one, let's set this one back in, and let's see if our pilot bushing and input shaft have a new lease on life. Let's see if they've got newfound freedom. Let's see if that self-clearanced anything. I've been telling you this whole time, it's not our connections. It's just weak. There's no way that this brand new battery that we've also charged, why did I put that down? I need that up. There's no way that this battery can't crank this engine over. Telling you, it's that gosh darn It'll buff out. It's that gosh darn pilot bushing. Let's put the distributor back in, and then let's try to get this thing started with that forward battery. And when we get the distributor in though, I'll finally tell you that one thing I was going to tell you a little bit ago. It's got something to do with the pulley that is on our balancer. Not putting this in that tray. Not doing it. Not doing it, sir. Well, how am I going to do this though? Ooh, gosh. I'm not putting it in there. Please don't hit the fan. Or, I'm hoping the fan doesn't hit the battery. I'm trying not to impregnate my skin cells with all this battery residue. Our mark on our pulley is not lining up where it should be on our timing tab on the timing cover. This is what I was going to tell you about. When we put the points distributor in the engine earlier, geez, I can't remember, did we take it out and put it in 5 times? The marks on the timing tab and the little notch on the pulley, everything was all greasy. I couldn't really see anything that well. So I was kind of a little loosey-goosey on it. And so this time I'm slowing down and I'm actually going to look and make sure that we are at top dead center on the compression stroke with the notch on our pulley at 0 on our timing tab. So yeah, I'm saying it's possible that the timing was way off. And I know some of you commented on that on the previous video in this series, and hey, I'm not saying that I was right and you're wrong. I'm saying I appreciate you. And I enjoy your comments, and they are helpful. And this broke again. Doing it again. Yeah, this is what I was afraid of. So our pulley there from the factory is bonded to the balancer that is pressed onto the end of the crankshaft. Now that bonding material can give way over time, and the pulley and the balancer can start spinning separately from each other, which causes an issue because right there, that metal tab there that is on our timing cover, that's our timing marks. It's 0 on the bottom, and then on top it's A for advanced or before, and each little mark is 2 degrees. And that edge of the pulley that's closest to that tab, that has a spot that's got a little notch in it. And now when you're at top dead center on the number 1 cylinder on the compression stroke, that notch should be right at about, I can't see anymore, I'm sorry, threw sand in your eyes. That notch should be right by the 0, and then you can, put it where you want it for your initial timing. You can turn the engine a little bit one way or the other. I like to set it at 4 degrees for initial timing with these 250s. But see, the issue is if they slip, your little notch isn't going to be anywhere near there, and it's actually down on the bottom right now. So I'm going to bring the engine around a few more times to top dead center on the number 1 cylinder on the compression stroke, and see if I can't get that notch where it needs to be. If I can't, then that means that I've pretty much confirmed that it has slipped, and we go from there. would just put it in the battery tray. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I found the other half of the clip, but I haven't found the spring yet. The original spring, I don't know, my grandpa used this at work for probably 40 years. I'd like to find that spring and put it back in here. Probably not going to happen tonight. I'll just go with what we got here. Well, you missed it. I was tapping the engine over with my arm hanging over the battery and the cables and everything all tight, and everything was pulling on everything else, and our remote starter switch down there on the solenoid jumped itself to the power, so the engine just started spinning over non-stop, wide open, and the cables on the battery were tight and I couldn't undo them, and the battery fell, tipped forward, and all that residue slid off the battery, and then the fan blew it all over the place. We're ready to put the distributor back in. I used my Made in USA, that's how you know it's old, grease pencil, and I put a nice mark down there on the notch on our pulley that I was telling you about. Brought it around the top dead center of the compression stroke. Seems like it might be a little off. Maybe it has slipped, but I've actually got it set though visually, or well, I've actually double checked it this time, and although I think maybe it has slipped a little bit, we're I think we're better than we were before, and you can see I've got. Oh, sorry, I threw sand in your face again. We're on the second notch towards the A from the 0. That's 4 degrees. So that's our initial timing. All right, we are putting the distributor in. How did that happen? That stuff is everywhere. Oh, almost dropped the gasket. Putting the distributor in for the umpteen time. Feels like the first time we put it in was eons ago. And we're not going to get all fancy pants on cleaning all this acid dust up. We're just going to wipe it away from the important spot. And now, I suppose I better get the cap off the distributor so that we can, oh no! That giant battery bent the top of the radiator a little bit. And we'll crescent wrench will fix that. But we'll get the cap off the distributor here so that we can point the rotor where we want it. Can you feel the excitement? Can you feel it? I ask you. I ask you, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Let's see here, put that in there. Point our distributor towards the number 1 cylinder. Does it want to go in like that? No, it does not. So we'll pull it out and we'll lead it a little bit because the gears on the distributor are a helical cut. There we go. It went right in. Oh, wait, hold on, we're not in. We need to... Okay, we're gonna have to lead it further. Possibly tap the engine over to get it to line up. We're ready to go. We are ready to put a splash of gas into our carburetor and hook up our big powerhouse Ford battery and start this engine. This is the moment where we're going to find out if the HEI distributor did take a dump on us and the points distributor was going to run the engine for us, but then we ran into all these other sidetracking issues and whatnot. But now we've got our timing triple checked and things marked better, right? And we got that big battery that can turn us over. So yeah, and if this does run, hopefully we don't have some sort of an issue where it's all going to come back apart again because the input shaft and the pilot bushing are too tight. Hopefully we get some sort of self-clearance deal going on, or it works itself out somehow. We can put our regular battery back in here. And another reason why I really hope that this engine starts right now is because I put rice in the microwave 3 hours ago. We got a bit of a challenge though with that big battery because it won't sit up here on its own and we're not putting it in the truck, right? So if the engine starts, the only way we're going to shut it off is if we let the battery fall in the fan while we go in the cab and turn the key off. Well, unless we could do it fast enough. I got a solution, okay? The battery, it can enter this domain, the Chevy's domain, as long as it doesn't make contact with anything inside the engine compartment. The outside's fine, but not on the inside. So we need some sort of a barrier. I'm going to start it from inside the cab since our battery is secure. That's a reasonable amount of gas. And that way, when it fires up, which I know it will, I know it's going to, I'll be able to turn the key off after a second or two if it doesn't quit running after it burns that little bit of gas on its own. Anyways, but are you ready for this? I'm so excited to turn the key right now because, well, I better move these because they'll probably just shake right off. The thing is not only have I been missing that lock and my rice is turned into a piece of road tar by now, if this engine doesn't start right now, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. Let's go. All right, let's do it. Come on, Sister Susan, let's do it. Fire in the hole! Yes! Yes! Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you, General Motors. Thank you, Mr. Ford. I don't know really what it needed anymore because everything's been such a whirlwind. Oh, I can't believe it. It runs. It runs, it runs, it runs. If we keep doing that, it should start pumping fuel from the tank And that carburetor is good to go. It'll probably sit here and idle. You know what? Let's do it. Let's do it. We'll leave the valve cover off. It's probably gonna throw oil. Well, we'll just set the valve cover on real quick. It's gonna throw oil, or else it'll throw oil all over the place. All right, I'm gonna crack the door for some ventilation, and let's do it. Oh, there's that 9/16 wrench. When are you gonna remind me about that? Should we hook up the throttle linkage right now, or yeah, let's try it again. What's going on? Did the distributor move? I don't have it clamped down real tight. Maybe we didn't get much gas in here. Let's work the butterfly a little bit for the throttle. What's going on here? Did the distributor jump around? No, it doesn't look like it. Why would it not start again? What if we... Oh, I don't see any point in... Well... Yeah, we'll choke it. Oh, I'm getting nervous. What could be going on, man? We'll do half choke. I really don't feel like flooding it right now. What if we plugged that? What if we plugged that port on the intake manifold? We'll just throw this on back on here too. We need to put this quart of oil in it as well. Should we just, yeah, let's just do that right now. I don't want to play games with that, if you know what I'm saying. The throttle linkage is hooked up, so let's just play around with choke, gas pedal, and see if we can't figure this out. some bucking and bronking, ain't it? Here's what we need to do. Put some more gas in there. We'll give it about 3/4 choke. There we go. Choke open. Let's do it again. Oh, she needs some tunage. Yeah, we got oil all over the place now. Now that I'm thinking about it, what if all we needed, ever since we put that new pilot bushing in, was just more battery power because the input shaft is too tight in the pilot bushing. So all this distributor swapping, carb swapping, didn't make any sense. There's no point in it. Is that possible? I don't know. But it actually all works out just fine in the end, because now we're going to be driving this truck with this engine with the points ignition system in it first, so that we can swap the HEI in later and do a points versus HEI test. See if putting the HEI in makes any improvement in power and fuel mileage or anything. And that was the fuel pump pumping, by the way. I shut the thing off with the key in there. Well, thanks for hanging out and sticking with me through this long, drawn-out series, fighting with this thing. There's one more video, and that's going to be tuning this, and then we drive it. I swear, all we're going to do is tune it and drive it. We're not blowing everything apart again. Let's just hope that when we do drive it out on the road, that we don't have an issue because of the input shaft and pilot bushing not quite being the way it should be. And I guess we'll find out too if we can work our way back into our smaller battery or not. So yeah, one more video in this series is wrapped up. There's stuff on the screen right now for you to watch, or hit the arrow button and share it with your friends and family. That'd be appreciated. Like, comment, subscribe. See ya. I'm deleting that. You're never going to see that.